Orange County renters, have you ever wondered how much you need to make within your household in order to be able to purchase an average price home within Orange County? Well, you're not alone. So on today's episode, I'm going to be talking to Mina from Guaranteed Rate Affinity, and we're going to be going over a bunch of different things. But the two biggest topics are going to be, one, how to understand how much you need to make to be able to purchase the home that you're looking for. But number two, we're going to actually run some scenarios for you and show you how much you need to make in your household to be able to purchase some average price homes within Orange County. So if you've been thinking about buying a home within Orange County, then this episode is definitely going to be for you. So let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, Mina, thank you for coming on to the show today. It's always nice to be able to get your professional opinion and kind of go over all the numbers involved with what it actually takes to be able to get a loan, especially in Orange County when everything is so expensive. So today, I want to have you on here to basically go over, one, what you need to do to be able to figure out how much you can actually qualify to purchase. But then number two, what some scenarios are we can run to kind of give people an idea of how much you need to make as a household to be able to afford an average condo and an average home inside Orange County. So thanks for joining us today, and let's go ahead and jump on into it.
Yeah, and thank you for having me. In terms of, I guess, what the banks and lenders are doing when determining what you qualify for, no matter the bank or lender you speak with, ultimately it's the same calculation that we all go through since, the guidelines are set by the government agencies, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, and the HUD for FHA. But the main calculation we're doing is something called the debt to income ratio. And I feel like a lot of people are going to laugh because it's actually very simple math that we do on a daily basis, despite me being good at calculus when I was growing up. It's not really helping my job. But with that being said, the max debt to income ratio that you have to keep your mortgage payment, or I guess to qualify, is going to be 50%. Now, all
Okay.
that really means is to, make numbers easier. Let's say, Josh, you have a $10,000 a month gross W-2 income. Now,
Okay.
50% debt to income ratio means that we just need to make sure that the home you're purchasing, the monthly payment on that property, plus any current debt obligations you have, the payments on them, all of that combined cannot exceed 50% of your $10,000 a month income in this example. So that would be $5,000 a month. So if you were
Gotcha. So,
to not have any debt obligations, you would qualify as long as the housing payment does not exceed $5,000 a month. If you have a
okay.
$500 a month car payment included in that, now the housing payment that you can qualify for will go down to $4,500. Combined, it just
Gotcha.
has to remain at or under 50%.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, that makes sense because that's one of the biggest questions I hear a lot with DTI is, okay, 50% DTI, is that just the mortgage payment or does that include anything else? So that's one thing that I definitely want to clear up because it definitely impacts the amount of home you can afford. If you have, let's say, a luxury car, you're spending $800 a month on this car, and now you want to go buy a home, you're going to severely limit the amount of home you can purchase because you have an $800 car payment. So it's good to be able to know what is included in these DTI numbers so you can kind of start calculating and kind of figure out what exactly you need to be able to do to be able to afford the maximum amount of home that you can. So car payments, number one. What are some other things that are you looking at with that DTI?
Yeah, so it's essentially anything that pops up on your credit report. And so that's
Okay.
going to include student loans, credit cards, personal loans, and kind of a quick note on the student loan part of it. So it's very common right now, especially after the pandemic and all the craziness we went through. A lot of the student loans are currently in deferment. And so
Okay.
what's going to happen when we check the credit is it's going to show a $0 a month payment. So of course, what the heck do the lenders even consider?
Yeah.
Depending on what the balance is, most of the loan programs will allow us to use either 1% of the balance, and we have to count that as the monthly payment in the debt
Okay.
to income ratio calculation. Or actually, quite a few loan programs have recently switched it to like conventional and FHA, for example. Now you can just use half a percentage point of the student loan balance. And so
Gotcha.
if it's
Okay.
$1,000 balance of a student loan, I mean, I wish it was that low for everyone, but $1,000 balance,
Yep.
then 1% of that would be $10 a month we have to count. Half a percent of that would be
Okay.
$5 a month we have to count. So actually, in reality,
Okay.
student loans don't make a huge significant impact because even if you have a $20,000 student loan balance, we only have to count $100 a month of payment obligations.
Gotcha. Okay. And then for the credit cards, that's your minimum monthly payment, right? Not just what your normal payment is on there?
Exactly, and then it's also
Okay.
important to remember when a bank checks your credit, like, nothing's concrete and set in stone. So, for example,
Okay.
If I notice that, it's a particular credit card, that payment is hindering you from qualifying, then I might recommend, hey, if you pay this off or be sure to pay it off by the time we're about to close, then you can qualify. And I can just check the box to say to be paid and still qualify you under that. And so we continue to work through these scenarios depending on, of course, what home you're trying to purchase and how the qualifying looks.
Gotcha. And this is why everybody, it's so important to talk to a lender way before you're ready to actually go out and start purchasing a home, because they're going to be able to give you recommendations and a game plan for you to be able to figure out the best way to take care of this type of debt to maximize the amount of home you can afford. So that's important to note, that you don't want to contact them a week before you start going looking for homes. You want to be able to get some time. So if you do need things fixed, whether it be your credit score or trying to figure out what you need to do on the debt side of things to be able to afford more home, you have time to do so and you're not in a time crunch.
Yeah, and
Okay,
on
so
that note too, I kind of want to
yeah,
add really quick. When it comes to game planning to purchase a home, even if you think
yeah,
that you're much farther out, how do you game plan and strategize about how to obtain or get to a goal if you don't have a full clarity on what the banks are even doing when qualifying you or what exactly goes into a mortgage payment, right? And so
exactly.
definitely it's not the kind of the typical image some people have in their minds of a huge person in a suit with an approved and denied stamp in both hands. It's just
Yep.
a conversation. It's just an educational process, if anything.
Exactly. Okay, perfect. So now let's go ahead and get into what a lot of people want to know is, how much does somebody need to make as a household to be able to afford, let's say, an average condo and an average home in Orange County? So I know you ran some numbers for us. So let's kind of go over that first. So let's talk about how much someone needs to be able to make it in a household to be able to afford an actual condo inside Orange County.
Yeah, so the purchase price that we're using for this example, we're using $700,000 purchase price
Okay.
with both a 20% and 10% down payment at the average of where I've seen the rates in the current few weeks. And they've been jumping around quite a
Yeah.
bit. It's very annoying and frustrating, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's been in the past couple of weeks anywhere between 6.1 to 6.5. And so I'm using about six and a quarter just as a starting
Okay.
point for the example. Now, with a $700,000 property with 20% down, of course, condos come with an HOA too. So I'm
Yeah.
taking into account an HOA of 300 a month, and also just to have a realistic kind of, I guess, number and scenario ran, I kept in mind maybe about $300 a month of debt obligations aside from this mortgage.
Okay.
So with
So
all
that's
of
gonna be
that
like the car
considered,
payments and the, yeah. So that's like the car payments, credit cards, all that stuff, an average of $300 a month.
exactly. And
Okay.
so if we include all of that together, essentially, if you're looking to qualify with a 20% down payment,
Mm-hmm.
$700,000 condo, 300 a month HOA, you're looking at a total household income you need of about 115,000.
Okay. Gotcha. And then you said you also did it for the 10% as well.
Exactly. And then for the
Okay.
10% down, assuming the same exact parameters, 300 a month HOA, 300 a month of payment op or debt payments
Mm-hmm.
aside from the mortgage, you're looking at a total income or household income you'll need to earn of 128. So
Okay.
128,000.
Gotcha. So basically, so let's say you're living in a household of two people, which is pretty typical right now. You're renting a place, you're trying to purchase your first condo. I mean, if everybody in the house, so if both people in the house are making around $75,000 a year, there's a good chance you're going to be able to afford to be able to purchase a condo within Orange County. Is that correct?
Definitely. I mean,
Okay.
75,000 between two people with 150,000 income, you could actually
Yep.
afford and qualify for a
A
much
little bit
higher price
higher.
than this condo
Yep.
even.
Gotcha. Okay, perfect. Now let's go ahead and move on to the single family home. So, what kind of numbers do we have when we look at that side of things?
Yeah, so I used an average of where single family homes are in Orange County, and it's a little bit
Okay.
above 1,000,000, but I just used the flat
Gotcha.
$1,000,000 mark.
Okay.
Now,
Makes
same
sense.
calculations in terms of the assumption that maybe estimate 300 a month of debt obligations, but no HOA being considered since single family.
Okay.
Now, at 20% down, you're looking at a household gross income of 151,000 that you'll have to be earning to qualify for $1,000,000 purchase.
Okay.
And now
Gotcha.
getting into 10% down, same parameters, you're looking at a household income of 169,000 that you'll have to be earning.
Gotcha. Okay. So perfect. So I mean, obviously the amount is not a giant step up when you're looking from 700 to a million, but when you have to factor in an HOA, when again, you're going for a condo, that is almost like kind of part of your DTI because you're spending an extra $300 a month that's not really going towards your mortgage that you have to calculate into that when you're going to purchase a condo versus a
Exactly.
family home.
And I'll
Gotcha.
note too that with the HOA, I think a lot of people kind of forget about the fact that, the mortgage is amortized over a 30-year time frame in most cases if you're
Yeah.
in a 30-year fixed loan. That's a long time,
Yeah.
right? And so an
Yep.
extra like $5,000-$10,000 to lower the loan amount doesn't make that much of a significant impact to your payment. But,
Yep.
boom, an HOA payment of $300 a month, $400 a month. If we
Yep.
were to equate how much additional loan amount would actually shift your mortgage payment by $300 to
Okay.
$400, it's
Yeah.
literally like 80, 90,000. That's why a
Wow.
home
Okay.
priced higher
Yep.
with no HOA ends up sometimes having a lower or the same payment as a home priced much lower, with a higher
Gotcha.
HOA, for example.
Yeah, so that makes sense. So if you're basically looking for a condo, you might be able to afford a single family home. Maybe it's not in the same area, but slightly outside the area you're looking in for a little bit higher price and end up actually saving money because you don't have that HOA, you don't have that headache of HOA. You don't have to worry about the HOA raising rates on you and a bunch of other things that come with having a homeowners association attached to your home value as well. So that is good to be able to
Exactly.
know and understand on there. Okay, perfect. Well, I think that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today because I know it was a big question on a lot of people's mind is how much they need to make before they can even think about that. So if anybody wanted to get a better idea of what they can be able to make so they can actually run the numbers themselves and for their personal circumstances, figure that out, what's the best way for them to get in touch with you?
Yeah, I mean, if you'd like, I think the name on my actual picture right here, at Mina
Okay,
Mortgage, that's
gotcha.
my Instagram handle where I post a lot of educational content. But
Okay.
additionally, yeah, I'll have Josh include my phone number somewhere around this video where you can text or call
Okay.
me. To be honest, because
Gotcha.
yeah, I just want to remind
Yep.
everybody that you are not making this commitment or you're not contractually obligated
Yep.
to purchase a property when you talk with the lender. I just
Yeah.
want more people to start the process early and begin asking the right questions earlier. Because when I
Yeah.
think about for myself, I bought my first home when I was 25 and I
Hmm.
didn't have help from family. But the only
Yeah.
reason I felt comfortable and was able to do that was because I had the knowledge being in the industry I'm in. And so
Yep.
that's what I recognize. I'm like, wow, I'm really not that special. And more people could have done it decades ago if they
Yeah.
knew about it. And so I encourage anyone
Yeah.
to just give both of us the call and just talk through a lot of these scenarios. Then you can game plan a lot more proactively and get to the goal quicker.
Absolutely. And that's something that I tell all first-time home buyers as well, is that you need to be able to talk to a lender. Don't be scared of them. They're not going to hurt you. They're not going
Very
to take your
intimidating,
money.
actually.
Oh, yeah. All they're doing is basically trying to help you and figure out a game plan to be able to get you into a home. It's completely free. Like Mina said, there's no contracts you have to sign. It's just helping you have a better financial picture of what you need to do if you can't currently afford a home, where you need to go and how you need to do it to be able to get to a point where you can. So if you're thinking about buying a home, but you're unsure if you can afford it, make sure you reach out to a lender first so you can get the information to make a more educated decision. Well, Mina, thank you again for joining me. As always, it's nice to have you on here to clarify anything that has to do with the loan side of things. I appreciate it. And one last thing, if you do want to figure out exactly how much you need to be able to have in your bank account to be able to afford a current home in Orange County, please make sure if you haven't already, check out my latest video on how to afford a home in Orange County. And that gives you all the information you need to know to be able to figure out how much you have to have saved up to be able to get into a home, which is also part of the equation as well. So until next time, everybody, stay healthy, stay happy, and I'll see you on next week's show. Bye.